This is the Chefpreneur podcast, where we inspire professional cooks to take on greater risk to build a personal chef business for themselves. Now, here's your host, Andres Hinojosa.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in today to another episode of the Chefpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Andres Hinojosa. I just wanted to say thank you guys for supporting this podcast. It's been a real joy to do this, and it's been a pleasure every single week to bring you guys valuable content, and I hope that you guys are getting something out of it. And I just wanted to thank you guys again. We have around 6,000 downloads on the podcast now, and we're climbing every single day. So just keep listening, keep tuning in. Let us know how we can do it better. Let us know what we can, the information that you guys want to hear. And with that being said, we have been doing a new segment on the podcast where we do either a topic that you guys give us or a question that you guys want us to answer here on the podcast. So we have a question from Chris Chavez on Facebook, and it's a great question. And he asked, what is the best way to build a contract for clients? First of all, Chris, I just want to say great question. I know that a lot of you are probably thinking about contracts, and sometimes it can get kind of a little intimidating because a contract makes it sound very intimidating as far as on a legal standpoint. But really, what I consider a client contract, Chris, is basically you just relaying and communicating to the client exactly what they're going to get and what some of your policies are in your business. For example, the two most important policies I believe you need in your client contract are, one, your deposit policy, and two, your cancellation policy. Now, of course, your deposit policy is pretty standard. You can pick maybe a percentage of the total estimated cost of what the service that you're going to provide for them for. So, for instance, in my business, we do a 50% deposit. So if there's a $1,000 service charge and $300 worth of groceries, you're going to divide that by 2, which would be $650, and that will be the deposit amount. Okay, so I'll have them pay that, basically up front to secure the date. And that's kind of actually what I tell the client is the deposit is there so that we can secure the date for them and basically come in an agreement that on that day, I'm going to come service and render services for you, and you've already basically committed to it. So pretty self-explanatory. As far as a cancellation policy goes, which I think is probably the most important part of it, the reason is you want to make sure you have a cancellation policy in place. If you don't have a cancellation policy, what's going to happen is, let's say someone cancels on you 3 days before an event and you're out that money. Now, it's going to be very challenging for you to try to get that day filled with another client from somewhere else that quickly, right? So you're going to probably lose out on that money. So your cancellation policy needs to reflect a little bit basically about what your prices are, so that you can really feel like you're not, going to be completely, screwed out of out of your income if somebody cancels on you, especially last minute. So like I said, my deposit policy is 50% of the total estimated cost of the service. And so my cancellation policy goes that if you, cancel further out than 2 weeks or 14 days, you get your full deposit back, because I can usually fill either the gap there myself, or, a lot of times I have multiple people that have inquired for the same day. So I can always feel like I could probably bounce back on that one. Now you can make it extended out to 3 weeks or a month or however you want to work. But I felt that, I feel that 2 weeks works really well. And then if they cancel within the 2-week period, it'll be basically, instead of just giving them back the entire deposit amount, I'll actually give them back everything back except for $250. So I withhold that $250 because now we're getting closer to the event, and now I'm probably going to lose out on some sort of money here. So I just basically do that retainer of $250. If they cancel within 3 days or 72 hours of their event, I keep their entire deposit for that cancellation fee. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but we're talking about 3 days here. If they cancel on me the day before, I definitely, it's probably a very slim chance I'm going to be able to book someone that quickly for the next day. So unfortunately, I have to take that. And I've just made it very clear in my client contract, so the clients are completely aware that I am, being upfront with them on what my cancellation and what my deposit policies are. The client contract can really also include a couple other stipulations. Sometimes I know that in my contract, personally, in my contract that I have with clients, I basically tell them a little bit about how the service is going to work as well. And I even kind of put a couple little notations in there, maybe to clear out, a little bit of space in the refrigerator, make sure that the counters are cleared off and things like that. You don't want to speak to them in a verbiage where you're basically telling them clean the kitchen before you come, but you're politely just letting them know that to give the level of service you want to give, you want things to be in a proper order so that you're able to perform your services the best. That's pretty much a client contract. You don't want it to be too lengthy, Chris. You don't want it to be to where, a client is having to read 3 or 4 pages of a contract, because that's just intimidating, and it's very confusing for both of you, not just for them. But now here you are trying to feel like you have to recite a 3-page contract that's, from your own business. So you don't want to put yourself in some crazy contract. And really, the fact of the matter is the contract's going to be there to basically just protect you, but also it's more for just clarification on communicating with your client and, what you're going to be providing. So I hope that answered your question, Chris. Thank you guys again for just continuing. Just please pour in your questions and questions that you have for us, and we want to answer them here on the podcast. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of dive into today's topic. And what I wanted to kind of talk about today was that a personal chef experience is just that. It's an experience. Okay. It's not all about the food. In fact, a small percentage of the entire thing is about the food. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, no, there's no way, like you're going there to cook for someone. It has to be all about the food. But in reality, yes, the food is important, but in reality, it's not the most important thing. Okay. It's all about the experience. I was just telling this to someone the other day that, nobody hires a personal chef because they're hungry. Okay, so think about that. They're not calling you up, or they're not calling us up and saying, hey, I'm hungry. Can you just come feed me? Now, you might have the top, 0.1% of the population that are multi-billionaires. They're probably not cooking a day in their life unless they enjoy it, which is very rare, but they're probably not cooking for themselves on a regular basis. So they're definitely probably hiring a chef of some sort, whether it's, they have one on staff or whatever. And they're obviously able to pay a chef when they're hungry. They're there to cook them something, but that's a very small percentage of the actual population. But the most thing is that people are looking for an experience. And I want to give a shout out to Michelle. She's coming on board as one of the beta students in the Chefpreneur program, and I'm really excited to start to mentor her and basically just help her grow her business that she already started. And I'm really excited about it. And I was mentioning to her that the experience that you give someone is so vital. In fact, I used this metaphor. I was talking about if you go to a dealership, right, and you're wanting to buy a car. Think about this. If you're going to go buy a Toyota Camry at some dealership, right, you can go to any Toyota dealership and find a Camry. It's really that simple. But here's the thing. What if you called a specific dealership and the sales guy answers the phone and, you want to make an appointment, or you want to come down there and see some Camrys, take them for a test drive, and he starts to ask you a couple questions. He starts to ask you, well, what kind of vehicle maybe are you guys looking for? Well, we're looking for a Camry. We want something safe. My wife is expecting, and, we're going to have a little child with us here pretty soon. And so basically he might say, well, that's a great car, this and that. But what if he says, yeah, let's make an appointment, come down on Wednesday, 4:00. And if that works for you. So let's say when you walk in the dealership, he has a little teddy bear, a little Toyota branded teddy bear or something like that, right? And he gives that to you and says, what, I just wanted to give you guys a little gift on behalf of us here at the dealership, to welcome your new kid into the world, your new child into the world. And we're excited for you guys and your expanding family. Now, think about this, guys. If you're at a dealership and they do that to you, you're pretty much already probably 70% sold. Now, you might not be sold on whatever Camry yet. You probably not even know what Camry you're going to buy yet. But all you know is that you're probably not looking at other dealerships to buy that Camry now. You're going to be making up your mind right there and then that you want to buy from this particular salesperson and this particular dealership. And the reason is guys, because we're humans. At the end of the day, we're human, and we want experiences. We want emotional experiences. We want something that we can connect and remember, right? We can sit here, and nowadays they have apps to buy cars and all types of stuff. And the reason why I'm just using a random metaphor like buying a car is because it's just easy for me to explain. And so in the personal chef world, the entire experience is really what they're paying for. They're not just paying for the food. I've said it before in the podcast. For instance, I'll give you an example of a client that just recently booked me. She went through my website, did the same thing that I've told you guys that happens. She puts an inquiry in. She scheduled a phone call with me. I ended up calling her at the time that I said I was going to call her. It's not rocket science, right? She answered the phone. We started talking. First question I always ask my clients is, what's the special occasion that you guys are celebrating, right? So she tells me, well, I'm celebrating my husband's 50th birthday. I said, fantastic. What's your husband's name? I started asking some questions, right? What are some of his favorite foods? How can we make it extra special for him? I'm talking the entire time on the phone only about her husband. Now, in the Chefpreneur program, I'm actually going to have a couple live calls of me with clients so you guys can see my process on this. But realistically, I wanted to kind of just give you guys a little outline on how I do this, because the experience is already starting the minute they look at your website, number one. Number two, however easy the process is for them to actually schedule a phone call with you or book you, or, sometimes I see, personal chefs and any business, right? They have like kind of their customer contact field on their website, and it asks you your name, your email, your phone number, your typical stuff. And then it has this big text box and it says like, describe whatever you want. You're making the customer do more work. Now, on my website, I have a very specific, form that they fill out, and it's very simple. And it's just name, email, phone number, the date of their event, and the amount of guests they want to have, or they want me to serve. Really simple. It gives them, no time. They don't have to use brain calories to figure that out. They can just put all that information in. They don't have to sit there and write me a letter and a paragraph on what they want to do, right? Because if they would actually have to put in that text box, oh, I wanted to do a birthday, dinner for my husband, this and that, and then now they're writing a whole novel, right? And with all due respect, right, there's a convenience about it, right? Just the reason why we use Uber, there's a reason why we use things that make things easier for us, is that you want the customer process to be easy. And this is all, the reason why I'm bringing up customer processes and all this stuff is because it's all about the experience, and the experience starts with that. That is part of the experience. So getting back to my story, so we start talking again, and I'm sitting here just making her husband's birthday the focal point of the entire conversation, right? Whether he has allergies, whether he has, basically any favorite foods that he would like to be served, and all the stuff that he really would want in kind of a surprise birthday dinner. Now, by the end of the conversation, after I get all this data, basically I'm just saying, what I'd like to do is I got a great start here on information on what your husband likes. I'd love to just go ahead and put a menu together, a preliminary menu, and send it over to you. There's no pressure. There's no commitment. I just want to put something in front of you so you can see a menu. And I already have a couple dishes in mind that I think your husband will love. And I'm going to go ahead and send those over. And she was like, oh my gosh, that sounds fantastic. This process was so easy. I said, and I just verified her email, which I always do at the end of my call. I verified her email, and, everything was correct. I said, so expect to see a menu in the next 24 to 48 hours. So she was like, that sounds fantastic. Thank you so much. Notice the entire conversation, we didn't even speak about price. We didn't speak about my background. We didn't speak about where I've worked, what my skills are. Nothing, because to her, it does not matter, right? For instance, going back to that dealership metaphor I was using, right? The minute that they give you that Toyota Bear and they're saying, well, what are you guys expecting? Do you know, a boy or a girl? And maybe you're like, well, we're expecting a little boy, and oh, what's the name? And you're making it all about their family. If he starts showing them Camrys on the lot and he's saying, Well, you guys are going to love this. The Camry is the single safest car for kids in the back seat. They've done research, they've done studies, and he can break down some of those stats. Again, not too complicated. But if every single time he's going out there and showing them whatever camera he's showing them, whether it's whatever trim level or maybe it's leather or not, maybe he's saying, you know what, leather stays cooler than, suede or cloth stays cooler than leather. That might be better for your little boy. I mean, if he's trying to basically show them every car at the vantage point about what's best for their little son, do you see what happens? He's switching the focus off of, like, instead of him saying, oh, Toyota is just the best company. We have the best warranty. We have, yes, they might ask those questions when it comes time to sign the contract, but realistically, you've already sold them on the fact that the Camry is the right vehicle for them, right? And it's fortunately, you don't even have to tell them all the logistics. You're not even speaking about price. And price won't even matter when it comes down to it. So when I was talking to Michelle, we were talking a little bit about pricing, and she was wanting some coaching there. And I was telling her, I said, the biggest thing that I've learned is that there's a lot more value you can add to the entire experience, not just the cooking, right? Because if you're only being paid for the cooking, you're not going to make very much money, guys. You're not going to really be able to bring in the income that you want to bring in. And again, I know it's not all about money, but I'm just letting you know to get to that next level of how I charge and some of the things that I've, been able to accomplish and the money that clients have paid me has been because I've delivered a level of experience to them, an experience not just, oh, I'm just serving you and giving you a service. No, it's an experience. And so going back to my story, I go ahead, I email her the preliminary menu. She literally emails me back, "This looks perfect," in all caps. And she's saying to me, "Do not change anything. What are the next steps?" So here I am again. I'm still not even talking about price. The next email I sent her was, "Well, I just want to let you know that sounds great. I'm glad that you love it. I'm sure your husband is going to find that every dish that we're going to make him, he's going to absolutely love. I'm excited to serve you all. Thank you so much for bringing me into this opportunity and giving me the opportunity to serve you on such a special occasion for you and your husband." And then what do? I go into saying, so the next steps are, I'm going to go ahead and send you an invoice. It's just an estimated invoice. I require a 50% deposit just to officially secure the date and lock you in on that date. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, thank you so much for letting me serve you all. I'm really looking forward to meeting you and, helping you blow away your husband on this surprise birthday dinner, right? So here's what happened. I go to my, my software, my system. I go ahead and, create the invoice, the estimated invoice for the deposit. I send it out. Within 6 hours, she paid the deposit. She paid the deposit, and the first time she saw the price was when I sent her the invoice. She never even asked me the price, even through the email or on the phone. So here's the thing. You're able to position yourself to where you're going to be able to deliver so much value before you even cook for these people. And that's part of the experience. The minute you show up, the experience is continuing. It shouldn't start when you show up. It should be continuous from what happens, right? The excitement on the phone that I was talking about, with her husband's birthday and the stuff that he likes, and man, he's gonna really be surprised. It's a surprise birthday, and like I can't wait to hide. And I was building it up, right? And then through the email, continually just giving her that experience, making them feel like, basically the goal here, the mission is we're going to just knock the socks off of your husband's 50th birthday, and I want to just be a part of it. It's not about me. It's about him. It's about her and him, right? And so at the end of the day, guys and gals, really, you have to look at the entire scope of it as an experience. So I'm going to be cooking for them this Friday, right? And here's the thing. When I show up there with the groceries, I start to prep. I'm still carrying on about that experience. I'm asking questions. Hey, what is your, when is your husband going to get home? Okay. So we're going to, I'm going to hide over here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to clear things up so he can't see pots and pans and all types of food out. We're going to make this, just a slam dunk. I'm going to end up serving them, of course, knock on wood. You never know if anything will pop up, but for the most most part, what's going to happen is they're going to I'm sure they're going to enjoy the food, right? We're going to deliver some good food to them. And at the end of the whole thing, when I'm cleaning up and I'm making sure that the kitchen is spotless, and then I'm writing a little thank you card to them, and I'm giving him a little happy birthday card saying, we appreciate you bringing us in and allowing us to celebrate with you, right? I mean, think about that. From beginning to end, it's an entire experience. Name me a restaurant where that really happens. Name me a place where you can go and think about it. In any industry, I don't even care if you're talking about a restaurant or culinary industry, name any industry where you feel like a superstar. When's the last time you have been to a car dealership and they're going out of their way to make that client and make you feel special when you're walking on their lot? It's very rare. And this is why I think that a lot of personal chefs are undercharging, they're undervaluing themselves, but really, they're really not undervaluing themselves. I guess I should take that back. You're not really undervaluing yourself if you're not adding value, right? So before I've even cooked for these people, I've already added value to them. Right? I've added value to her. She's already pumped. She's already excited. She's already getting the vision in her head about her husband being blown away. He's literally going to get a surprise birthday dinner prepared by a chef in their own home. He's going to be stoked. He's going to be out of this world excited, right? And so this is what I mean by the experience. It's not all about the food. Now, yes, the food needs to be good. We understand that, right? Just like if you bought the Camry and all of a sudden, the wheel falls off halfway down the road, it's bad news. Right? But you have to look at the product. Do you have a quality product? Do you have a product that you feel like you believe in? And if that's the case, you owe it to the client to sell it that way and sell it well and give them the experience even before you show up. And so that's what I mean by the entire experience, guys. There's an experience before the event, during the event, and even after the event. A lot of times, even though I've written a thank you card right there on the spot, I give it to them in person. I tell them thank you. If it's for whatever special occasion, I always write in there, happy birthday, happy anniversary, congratulations on, sometimes it's a baby shower, it's a bachelorette party, it's a bachelor party. I'm always congratulating them. I'm giving them a personal card, which is a really nice touch, right? And then I'm even sending them a follow-up email, right? 3 days later, just kind of basically telling them again, thank you so much for it. We had such a great time and we look forward to serving you again in the future. And actually as well, we put a little link to a little survey that they can actually take a survey or leave us a review. So it's a great way as well to get a review out of them because it's still fresh in their mind. So there's an entire process. And in the Chefpreneur program that we're developing, we're going to give you the entire process from start to finish. We're going to give you sales scripts on how to talk to them on the phone. We're going to give you email templates on how to speak to them through your email communication. We're going to give you guidelines on what to bring on the cook day, some do's and don'ts on what to say, how not to say, some of the etiquette that you do when you're in the house. You're treating the home as if it was your own, right? Because honestly, guys, think about if someone was coming in your home and disrespecting your home. That's not you can't do that in this business. You have to be, professional and courteous about everything that's going on in their home. And so there's all these little things that we're going to give you this entire blueprint for. And again, I'm not trying to really sell the program yet. We're still developing it. We're still working on it. And we're really excited about it. It will be launched shortly. But all I'm saying, guys, is that the experience starts well before you cook for them. And it's all about that level of experience that you can give them. And that's what equates, I love how there's a gentleman by the name of Rabbi Daniel Lapin. I love it. He's a business expert, and he's always said, money is just a measure of how well we serve another human being. Think about that. It's like a ruler stick, right? There's, inches on a ruler stick. So if I serve them really well and I give them a greater experience, I should increase the ruler stick. I should increase the money that's given, right? It's just a measure of how well I'm serving them. So if her husband comes, he's surprised, he gets his socks blown off, he's through the roof. Did I not deserve the pay that I'm charging them? And just to be a little bit frank with you and kind of be straightforward, again, I'm not trying to brag or trying to make myself look like I'm some high and mighty chef out there. But, I'm probably gonna make over $1,000 to cook for 10 people. That's what I'm charging them, right? And that's not the groceries. That's what's going into my pocket, right? So they're spending on average $130, $140 probably on the entire thing. That's not even including tips. So they'll probably tip me if I'm worth it and they feel like they want to add even more or extra to it. So guys, I can really walk away with making $1,000 or $1,100 in a 7-hour workday. Now, again, I'm not saying it to brag, but I'm saying it because I'm adding value to their life and they're seeing that, and to them, it's extremely worth it. I mean, think about it. If I just showed up and I said, here's your food that I pre-made somewhere else. Here's your food. Put it on the table, in aluminum foil pans. Go at it. That's great. They're still going to pay me for something, but they're definitely not going to pay what I'm charging them right now, what I normally charge. They're going to look at it like, okay, what would I pay for a pan of beans? What would I pay for a pan of rice? What would I pay for a pan of chicken, right? They're not going to be looking at it as an experience. They're going to be looking at it solely as how much food am I getting for the price, right? And I love how Sam Walton put it. He said, there's only two ways that you can be in business. You can either be the cheapest or you can be the best. Now, notice what he said there. He didn't say the cheapest and the most expensive. He says you're either the cheapest or you're the best. And then they asked him, well, what is Walmart? And he says, well, we're the best at being the cheapest, which is pretty cool pun and pretty cool joke. But he was actually correct, right? They're the best at being the cheapest. But the thing is that if you're not the best, you're automatically looked to for just price. Right. So that's why we've talked about niches before. You've seen some Facebook posts on niches on the Facebook group. And the reason why we talk about niches is because you want to be the best in your niche. You want to find a niche that you stick to, that you focus on, and you're the best in that category. And when you're the best, the pricing is already correlated to you being the best, right? So you're able to charge a premium because you're the best. The minute you try to get into the middle ground and you're trying to say, well, I'm just, if you're getting clients, and I teach this in the program again, to teach you in the program this again about finding the right clients as well, because that makes a huge difference, finding the right clients, because again, some clients might think that you're very expensive, which means they don't value the experience and the value that you're bringing to the table enough. And no offense, they're not meant to work with you, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a, just like talking about cars, there's a market for Toyota Camrys and there's a market for Ferraris. They're two different markets. Both of them as a car will get you from A to B, just like hiring a personal chef or ordering something from Uber Eats is basically feeding you, right? But because Uber Eats is meant to just feed you and a personal chef is to give you an experience, I would say a Ferrari can give a much better experience than a Toyota Camry. I think we would all agree with that. So there's a reason there's a $350,000 price tag on a Ferrari, and there's a $28,000 on the premium side of a Toyota Camry's price tag. So that's what I'm trying to get at, guys, is that both cars take you from A to B. Being a personal chef, going to a restaurant, buying takeout feeds you. It gets you from A to B. But between that A to B, what else does it give you? What is the added value? So I hope that really encouraged you guys to look at, as a personal chef, giving an experience, you're not just cooking, you're giving the client an experience. And that means so much to people. And that's where you're going to find the value in your services. Hey guys, this again is the Chefpreneur podcast. We're really here to motivate, educate, and inspire you guys to take a leap of faith, start your own business, and create experiences that you want to create without anything holding you back. The future is yours, and you can put it into your own hands. Hey, if you guys haven't downloaded our ebook yet, you guys can get a free copy of the Chefpreneur ebook if you go to ebook.chefpreneurprogram.com. That's ebook.chefpreneur program.com. You guys find our great, ebook that I created. It's a 25-page ebook. It's pretty simple to read. You can read it in just an hour or so. And it's just got a great overview on starting a personal chef business from A to Z. And I just think it's a great read, and I think you'll really like the resource. Also join our Chefpreneur movement group on Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, type in the search bar, the Chefpreneur movement, you guys will see this group. Just ask to join that group. Make sure, you answer the questions so we can really see what we can help you with. It's a free group. There's no money involved, but we just want to connect with you. We want you guys to be able to just be part of a community of other chefs that are like-minded, wanting to learn about starting your own business, as well as you're able to read our blog. We have a simple 1-minute blogs that we write that are just really easy to read. And again, they're 1-minute blogs for a reason. We don't have a lot of time in this day and age, and it's real easy for you to pop on there, read a 1-minute blog. If you guys want to check out the blog, it's at chefpreneurprogram.com/blog. That's chef, PRENEUR program.com/blog. Hey guys, this is Andres Hinojosa again. I'm signing out for another episode of the Chefpreneur podcast, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Chefpreneur podcast, where we want to educate, motivate, and inspire as many chefs to become their own boss. Please subscribe to the podcast and join us every week to be part of the movement. To sign up for our free online training, visit becomeachefpreneur.com.